Well, everybody, we are back in the first ever VR MMO RPG Orbus VR with the new Reborn update. Let's talk about this. The gameplay featured here is brought to you by PureVPN. Keep your information online safe and secure with military-grade encryption and blazing speeds. PureVPN's already been rated one of the best VPN services of 2019. Use the link in the description. You can get your service for as low as $2.88 a month. That is 74% off what it regularly costs. But now, on to the video. Hey everybody, what is going on? Brandon here, and I am back in Orbus VR, this time with the Reborn update. Now, I've actually been really wanting to get back into Orbus for a while now, but as some of you know, around Christmas time, my VR, or what I needed to run my VR, was pretty much crapped out on me, so I wasn't able to do any VR videos for a few months. By the time I finally got it back up and running, they had announced the Orbus Reborn update was coming. I didn't want to sink too much more time into my character then, knowing they were going to be doing a complete and total revamp of the game, so I decided to just bide my time and wait for the right opportunity to get back in. So as soon as Reborn went live, I jumped back into this game, and oh my god, this definitely is a 2.0 revamp of this game. And don't get me wrong, I love classic Orbus VR, but for long periods of time, it was a game that you just couldn't really play for long periods of time, especially if you played a class like mine, where I was the warrior and you're using a sword and shield. It wore you out to actually play the game, so playing it for long stretches was a chore. And besides that, the questing system was kind of color by numbers for MMORPGs back then. You took a quest from a quest giver. They were mostly fetch quests. You took a quest, go do this, go back, return, and it wasn't really gratifying to do for long periods of time. It was still fun, it was still an enjoyable environment, but the servers weren't highly populated, and it kind of got old really fast. But I love the new mission system in this. It's not too different from the original, but you get different missions based on what kind of person is giving you the mission. You'll have missions that are for raids and dungeons, or quests, I guess you can call them. You'll have missions for going out and actually just navigating the world and going and killing certain creatures and accomplishing certain goals. You'll get missions for going out and catching mice, which I think is just one of the first missions you get, is to go down in the underground, blow your horn, and try to catch mice, because there's an infestation problem, which I thought was really cool. You'll get missions for going and fishing, so you can level up your fishing stuff. You'll get missions for going and making certain potions, or learning how to make certain potions, or going out and getting certain alchemy materials. I mean, there's all kinds of different missions you can really embark on, and you can focus on mostly. If you're not really into PvP, and you're not really into dungeons and raids, and you just want to kind of run around with the world killing creatures and doing events, then you can do that. You're not required to do the dungeons and the raids. Same thing goes for any of the missions, really, which I really enjoy. I think that the way they do the missions now, the mission setup now, is a lot better than it used to be. Graphics wise, not too much has changed. I do enjoy the character models a lot more now than I used to. Like I said, they didn't change too much, but they definitely did polish things up a little bit more. It made it at least a little bit more adult-like. I know my biggest complaint before was that it was way too cartoony. I mean, it really didn't. Your characters kind of looked goofy and had the stupid derpy look on their face all the time, and it really did take you out of the game a little bit, especially if you are used to games like World of Warcraft and Elder Scrolls Online. So they've upped the graphics just enough to where it's still cartoony. It still looks like it's a fantasy cartoon world, but it's not nearly as goofy and childlike looking, which will bring more, I would say, adults or more older people into playing the game, which is what we want in VR, because VR is definitely not really made for kids right now with how much it costs. I know I don't let my kids play on my VR setup too much because they are very fragile and they're very expensive. So I do really enjoy that they've made it look a little bit more for adults. I think that was what put a lot of people on the fence before, was the way the game looked. The community wasn't very big, and I was shocked when I came into Reborn on day one, and even today when I logged in. There's still a bunch of people playing this game. There's a bunch of people running around to talk to, and that's what makes it amazing, is because you can actually get so sucked into this game now, where the other day I was fishing for like 2 hours with like 3 other guys, and there was a group of bards in the background playing music, and I forgot that I was in a video game. And that's what is great about VR, but that's what games really need to do to sell on VR, and I think Reborn has done that. One thing that hasn't changed, which I'm grateful about, is the alchemy system and the lure system. You can still go to your player house, which, yes, you still have a player house, which is awesome, but you can go into your house and you can craft your own potions, lures. You have to learn new recipes for potions and alchemy and lures as you progress throughout the game, and I really, really enjoy that. I love the alchemy system, and I like crafting my own lures. The only thing that hasn't changed also, though, that bums me out is there is still no profession system, such as blacksmithing or leatherworking. You can be a fisherman, and you can be an alchemist, and you can make lures, and I think you may be able to make dyes, and you can actually have your own vendor market and sell stuff you found, but you can't actually be a blacksmith or a leather worker, and that bums me out. I think that's a huge miss. I know I've seen the developers say that they didn't want to add those kind of things to the game because they didn't think it was really viable, and they didn't really like the way the system worked. But honestly, the way they got this game set up, where you can bid on vendor spots to sell stuff, not being able to be a blacksmith or a leather worker, is kind of a ball drop. Because to me, that's one of the funnest things about MMORPGs, is being able to have a profession and really get into your character and be like, oh, well, I got to go mine materials, or I've really got to get some of this stuff done. I got to find materials to make some of this armor, to sell, to make money, and really getting into your character. So not only are you going out on these missions and these quests, but you can build a rapport with people. And since you can bid on these vendor stations in High Step, not being able to have a profession so where you can somebody can be like, hey, let's go check out Average's blacksmithing stand. Maybe he's got a good sword for your level, or something like that. To me, that's a ball drop. One of the coolest things whenever I first read Sword Art Online was realizing that there would be blacksmiths in those worlds. In virtual reality, there would be somebody who would be like, I want to be a blacksmith. I want to get my level high enough so I can make everybody's weapons and be trusted. And I think that is really needed for a VR MMO. So I do hope that that's something that's added in before too long. I think it would be a huge miss if they didn't, and I really hope that they do add in some kind of profession system for making armor and weapons, especially for those of us that want to run a good vendor stand one day and want to really get into our characters and roleplay, because I think that's what most of us want to do when we're playing a VR MMORPG, is we want to become our characters, and that would help us do that. One thing that's definitely done a lot better here is the event system. Now, the original Orbus VR, back when I was playing it a lot, events were kind of few and far between. Sometimes you'd run into events, sometimes you wouldn't. It wasn't really something you could just log in and say, you know what, I want to go do an event. But here you actually can. You can log in, go to High Step, go to the mayor, get an event quest, and then go find wherever that quest is. And there's giant beams of light leading up to the air, beacons, so you can find the events. And I did like 3 events the first day I was on. It was awesome. I got so much cool gear out of doing them. There were so many people playing, and that's what the best part of being in a VR MMORPG is everybody working together, and it's almost like you're really there. You're socializing as well as killing a bunch of monsters. One thing also that hasn't changed, and I do like about that, is you can be every class in the game with your character. You don't have to make multiple characters to play different classes where you're logging out, logging back in. The thing is, your weapon chooses your class. So if you are wanting to be a warrior and you have a sword and shield, any armor that you earn or any weapons that you earn while playing as that class will be geared towards your class. So you're going to be getting rare armor for a warrior. But if you start playing, if you pick up your hammer, you swap out your sword for your hammer to play as a paladin, guess what? All your gear that's for the swordsman or your warrior will go back. You will not be wearing it. You'll be wearing basic stuff again, and you will then have to level up that class. And then if you want to draw your bow, you're going to have to level up that class, which is awesome. I really do enjoy that. It reminds me a lot more of Elder Scrolls Online, except for the fact that you can at least keep your armor on when you swap weapons in that game. Here, you lose all of that class's armor. All weapons and armor are all class specific. So yeah, the final verdict is this game is better than the original Orbus in every way, shape, or form. It's awesome. It performs way better. Optimization wise, it runs so much better than this game used to run. Back when I first got it, this game ran so bad. but now it runs really well. I don't have really any frame drops. It runs really smooth. I don't have any network issues like I used to, really. I've ran into a couple bugs here and there. I ran into a bug where my sword was pretty much useless. Like, my sword just did not work at all, and I had to switch class for a little while. A few people have said they've had that problem too. I've not experienced it in a few days though, so I'm hoping maybe it's been worked out. But all in all, this game is great. If you're new to VR, I highly recommend checking it out. I know it's going to be coming to the Oculus Quest, so if you're one of those people that are waiting to get VR until it's a little bit more affordable and you're looking into the Quest, this game is going to be available for that. So I highly recommend it. I do. It's a ton of fun. If you like Sword Art Online or Overlord or any of the shows about a VR MMO, you're going to like this game. It is a fun time. Don't let the graphics discourage you. It is very enjoyable. You're going to have a lot of fun. It's really easy to talk to people in there. Nobody's really toxic. It's just all in all a good environment and a fun game. So I highly recommend checking it out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you like this video and you want to see more, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. If you want to know anytime Nathan or I upload videos, please do us a favor and ring that bell icon so you'll be sure YouTube will send you a notification. And I will see you all next time.